Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
My name is Ron. I'm an alcoholic. I give you a standing ovation.
Thank you.
Oh, lots of people. Thank you. Thank you to the committee for inviting us here to spend tonight with you, spend the weekend with you. This convention started in 1974. I was not sober in 1974. I can remember 1974, but after that it became a blur. So I love the, thank you, your talk was wonderful. And thank you for your talk last night, Frank and Tom and Jean today. Terrific. The speakers have been wonderful. I'm humbled to be among you, and I just as soon be listening to you tonight, but it's not to be. So, special night. This is the first time in sobriety. I'm 29 years sober. This is the first time in sobriety that I'm coming here with a wife. I'm coming here with my wife, Linda. And when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, I was not marriage material. If I was on one side of the street, you would have walked to the other. You know, our theme is we have to live it, right? Spirituality is not a theory. We have to live it from the big book, right? The 9th step. And I'm so grateful that we had the chance to practice spirituality. You have to live it. During our 4-hour drive from Los Angeles in traffic on Friday. And as a motorcyclist decided to salute me as he was coming by, all of the urges to get vengeance were there. I have this car that, I just wanted to turn that wheel. And today, as we're walking down the hall, the housekeeping cart with all those free shampoos that have my name on them, that are calling, take me home. So we just have to live it. It's not about what we think, and it's not about what we feel, it's about what we do, right? It's about the actions that we take, because all of change begins with action. If I want to change, I have to start with my contrary action. And I have to take that action over and over and over again, even though my head isn't there, and that's been my sobriety. It's been rough. I know that some of you got to Alcoholics Anonymous and you felt, I'm home. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous and said, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is not the place that I wanted to be. And I've come through AA kicking and screaming, doing almost everything wrong except for one thing. One thing. For 29, almost 30 years in September, I've not taken a drink, taken a pill, done anything that's affected me from my neck up. And as a result, none of you has ever said, you got to go. Get out of here. I've done a lot of stuff, and you've been very patient. You've been so tolerant. You've never said go. You've always said keep coming back. So my story doesn't begin in Los Angeles where we live. My story starts in the place where I was born in Michigan, a little small town called Kalamazoo. And And I was born into this Jewish family. So in rooms like this, places like this, I'm the Jew from Kalamazoo. And I know that some of you come from backgrounds like you've described. We've all heard them, you know, sometimes AA sounds like a game show. I can bottom that. And you'll hear the guy who says, well, I stole a fifth of whiskey and I got a car and I robbed a bank and I was only 6. And none of that happened to me. There were no alcoholics in my family. There were no drug addicts in my family. No one had ever committed a crime in my family. No one had ever been arrested in my family. No one had ever been in a straitjacket in my family until me. And so there was no sign, no way for me to anticipate that alcoholism and Alcoholics Anonymous was in my future. I only know one thing, and I've heard all of you say it, same for me, I'm no different. When I was a kid, I felt different. And different didn't feel good. Different didn't feel like, oh, I'm special. You should look up. Different felt like there's something wrong with me. What's wrong with me? I don't want to be different. Now, I was small, and I was Jewish, and I lived in a basically non-Jewish town of, you know, big Dutch people, and there were a lot of farmers and a lot of athletes where we came from, and I didn't look like they looked, and I wanted to look like they looked. I begged my parents to like put stretchers on my legs so that I could not have to be the littlest kid in school, and I didn't know why it was that I just didn't fit in, but I knew. And I knew that you knew, and I knew that you knew that I knew. And so I'm walking around as this little kid thinking about how I can get to you, how you'll wrap your arms around me. And I'm obsessed with thinking about what I think you think I should think, and what I think you think I should say, and what I think you think I should do, and what I think you think I should be. And just for a little kid, does that make me an alcoholic? It just made me feel bad. I felt bad. I wasn't what I was supposed to be, and I knew that you knew that. I grew up in the 50s, and in the 50s in the Midwest, I got my sense of who I was supposed to be from television and the movies. And I remember watching all these men who I wanted to be, and they were big, and they were strong, and they always had a pretty woman with them. I had Superman, Clark Kent, had Lois Lane, and there was always a cowboy like Roy Rogers who had Dale Evans, or Humphrey Bogart had Lauren Bacall, or my favorite, James Bond, Agent 007, Sean Connery, the real Sean Connery, young, who had these exotic women with exotic names like Pussy Galore. And I would look in the mirror and I'd want to be that guy, and it just wasn't happening. And so now I'm in junior high school, and I'm feeling bad. Feeling like me doesn't feel good. I feel bad. I feel empty. And junior high school is a big deal in the Midwest because it's the first time that we have gym class. And that's a big deal, you remember, because it's the first time we put on our gym uniform. And that's a really big deal, do you remember? Because it's the first time we take off our clothes in front of our friends. Oh, so I remember that day I went into the locker room and off come my clothes, and I was a late bloomer. So I take off my clothes, and I did what some of you did. I peeked, right? And so I looked at what you had, and I looked at what I had, and you had what I wanted. I don't know why body hair, pubic hair, is so important to a little boy. But I promise you, if you didn't have any, it was a big deal. I remember that day. Honest to God, it's just crazy the way some of us remember stuff. I remember that day, And I remember the feeling that I had that day. And maybe before that, I kind of suspected that I wasn't enough. That day, I knew it. And the feeling that I had that day is so important. It wasn't about guilt. I learned here that guilt is about an action taken or not taken. So if I'm supposed to do something and I don't do something that I should do, it's guilt. Or the other way around, doesn't matter. That goes from the outside in. If I do something, I feel bad inside. If I don't do something, I feel bad inside. We can deal with that because it's curable. Guilt is a good thing. Guilt can tell me next time do it, or next time don't do it, as the case may be. The feeling that I had that day was far deeper, far more insidious than guilt. The feeling was shame. The feeling was I was ashamed of who I was from the inside out. And I vowed on that day I would do whatever I had to do not to feel like that. I thought the solution was to grow up and make a lot of money. I thought that the solution was go to college and get great grades. I thought the solution was going to be the world's greatest lawyer. I thought the solution was going to be to have a gorgeous wife. I thought the solution would be to live in a place with a view of the ocean. I thought it was all about the outside stuff that was going to make me feel better on the inside. And God knows I hammered it as hard as I could hammer it to try and get there. And I'm a little ahead of the story. So look, it's junior high school. You know, it wasn't a tragedy. I'm probably given to a little hyperbole, a little exaggeration, but you're getting the point. I did not die in junior high school. I didn't die in high school. But I'm the kid who didn't go to the junior prom. I didn't ask anybody because I knew if I asked you, you'd say no. And I just didn't want to hear no. And I didn't go to the senior prom because I knew if I asked you, you'd say no. And I was so afraid of no that I just couldn't go. And I said I didn't care, but I cared. And I said it was no big deal, but it was a big deal. And now I go to the University of Michigan, and it's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it's my first year, and for some stupid reason, a fraternity invites me to go to a fraternity. I don't know why, but it was a nice place. And I had been there before, and there's couches, and there's chairs, and there's lamps, and there's coffee tables. It's a nice place. And I'm about to go to my first fraternity party in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in my first year of college in late August. The humidity is about 1,100%. And I'm walking down the street alone, walking down Washtenaw Avenue in Ann Arbor, Michigan in late August, alone, going to a party. And as I'm walking, I'm hearing it. You don't want to go. Why are you going? No one's going to like you. Sure, they're going to like me. They're not going to like you. Why should they like you? They'll like me. No, they won't. What are you going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll dance. You don't know how to dance. I'll tell jokes. You don't know any jokes. This will be bad. I don't want it to be bad. It'll be terrible. You should not go. And they're talking to me, right? You know it? There's a lot of heads going up and down, right? So in AA, we call it the committee. The voices are at play. It's about self-sabotage, but we don't know it's about self-sabotage. Someone's talking to me, and I'm fighting through it, and I'm walking up the steps, and I'm hearing bluegrass music, and now I'm really afraid to go, but I'm committed. I've got to go in, and I'm walking in, and as I walk in, they give me this tall green bottle. Frank, you got to hear this. I swear I'm not in Beaumont, Texas. I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's this tall green bottle with a beige label, and you know what it says? It says Boone's Farm Apple Wine. And when Frank was talking about Boone's Farm last night, Linda says, "Oh my God."
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
So we all get this bottle, you know, vintage 430, and walk in, and nobody's talking to me. I'm standing there, I'm all alone, and it's just like the voices said, this is going to be bad. This is really going to be bad. And it's so hot in there, and I have to take that cork out, so I just unscrew the cap, and I'm just watching some other people, so I take a drink of this. Come on, I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I know what apple cider tastes like. I used to go on hay rides. So I'm drinking this stuff like it's apple cider, and I drink once, and I drink twice, and I drink 3 times, and it's not apple cider. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it tells us that alcoholics drink because we like the effect produced by alcohol, the sense of ease and comfort that comes almost at once having taken a few drinks. So some of you drank and you went up, and some of you drank and you went down. And if you're a tweaker, you probably went sideways. So I don't know what direction I went, but here's the magic of alcohol for me. The sense of ease and comfort for me. My perception of me was small and weak and unliked and unlikable and not enough in every respect. And when I drank alcohol that day, that changed. Alcohol changed my perception of me. I don't know if I felt taller, but I didn't feel small. I don't know if I felt like I was more, but I didn't feel like I was not enough. It just changed it enough to give me a sense of ease and comfort that I just loved it. They ought to bottle it. They do! So it was just great, and I didn't become an instant alcoholic. My favorite TV show was Taxi. You remember Taxi, right? Our favorite character is Jim Ignatowski, Iggy. Remember Iggy? Iggy was a guy, used to go to college wearing a tie and a sport coat like that, and someone gave him a marijuana brownie, and boom, he became a stoner for life. And that didn't happen. So I just drank, and I drank in college, and I drank, and I got drunk, and I threw up, and I didn't drop out of school, and I love those memories of being a part of all these guys, and I hammered it hard. It's what you're supposed to do, right? There were keggers, and there was hard liquor, and I hear some of you say that your worst day in sobriety was better than your best day drinking. I don't get that. Why did you bother drinking? I love to drink. I love the taste of it. I love feeling it go down and feeling it spread and come up to my face. I loved it. It's why I did it. It's why I kept on drinking and drinking and drinking. So I started socially, and then it was recreationally, and then it was medicinally, and then it was regularly, and then it was continuously. And at one point, it finally became chronically and alcoholically. At some point, I crossed the line where I lost the power of choice. The book talks about it so perfectly. Our book says that there was a time when we probably could have stopped. Who wanted to? It was going too well at the time. So I ended up graduating from college. I just drank a lot. I wasn't an alcoholic. I got married. I went to law school, University of Michigan Law School. I graduated. I did very, very well. I was the smart little Jewish kid, the little Jewish nerd that I always was afraid I was going to be. But, when I wasn't drinking, that's the way I felt. When I drank, I didn't feel that way. So you know what I was doing most of the time? I come to California, and I don't want to be in competition. I don't do well with competition because I'm really afraid you're going to find out I'm not who I'm pretending to be. You're going to find out that I'm really not very smart. And you're going to find out that I'm really a loser. But I'm trying to run this game on the world, and I'm in a law firm. I don't want to be in competition, so I become a trial lawyer. Stay with me. Oh. So the strangest thing starts to happen. I win. And then I win again. You would think, aha, now he's going to have confidence in himself. Life will be good. It doesn't work that way. It's like the jaywalker in the book. If you have a personality like our personality, you know that it's only a matter of time that it's going to catch up. So I'm like the jaywalker. I dodged the car that time, and I dodged the car the next time. But sooner or later, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get splattered. And I live with a sense of impending doom that the world will find out I'm a fraud. The world is going to find out sooner or later that I'm still that little boy in Kalamazoo, Michigan, who knows he's not enough, who feels he's not enough, and is just living his life to hope that you don't find out he's not enough. But I know you're going to find out. And the only time that I really feel okay is when I'm pounding alcohol. And then my perception changes and I have a sense of ease and comfort. So you know what happens. I'm winning. They're sending me out of town to lecture to other lawyers across the United States about winning trial strategies. I know that my story's not enough. I know that my knowledge is not enough. So what do? I lie. I tell them about cases that don't really exist. I tell them about cross-examinations that I'm making up on the fly. And by noon, I'm scared to death that they're going to find out the truth. And I find that if I have a couple of drinks at noon, the afternoon session goes better. It takes no genius to then figure, okay, so that if I have a drink in the morning's going to go better. And now I'm drinking during the day. And I'm coming back to Los Angeles, and I can't stop. And you know what happens. This kid who's got this promising career, who's just winning left and right, who's making a lot of money, who's living at the beach with a view of the ocean. I'm married to a beautiful woman, and I just want you to see me as I'm Ron the lawyer, or I'm Ron the husband. I want you to look at what I do as a professional. I want you to look at who I'm with, because I don't want you looking at me too closely, because if you look at me too closely, you're going to find out I'm the little guy who's not enough. I'm a grown man, and I have the emotions of a kid, and I don't know what to do with them unless I'm drowning them with alcohol. And you know what happens. They fire me.
To obtain additional copies, receive a free catalog of AA and Al-Anon talks, or to find out about our tape and CD of the Month Club, call Encore Audio Archives at 1-800-878-1308, or visit our website at www.12steptapes.com.
And she leaves me. And now I'm alone. And I have no idea what to do. Because all the things that I'm using on the outside to fix me on the inside are removed. And all I can do is drink. And I believe in singleness of purpose, and this is AA. But I do have to tell you that I used to love the commercial, Better Living Through Chemistry. And so I enhanced my use of alcohol with just a little minor recreational cocaine freebase. And so I don't want to talk about it. But I was in love with the bottle, and I was in love with the pipe, and they just both did the same stuff. And so I stopped working, and I really stopped eating, and I don't want the drunk log to go too far, but I was living alone in this 6th floor place overlooking the ocean, 117 pounds. I hadn't eaten. I had sores all over my body. Pyorrhea is oozing out of my mouth. I had a loaded gun, and throughout the night I'm seeing the bush people coming through my windows on the 6th floor, of course, and I'm playing Starsky and Hutch naked. And then I'm evicted, and that's okay, because I'll become an outdoorsman. So I moved and had a closer view of the sand, and watched the sun come through my bedroom windshield. And now I'm living on the street, and a Jewish lawyer from Kalamazoo, Michigan doesn't know anything at all about living on the street. and I have no money, and I have no things, and I've got to get well. I have to get another drink. And I start doing all the things that I thought that I would never do. And each week I would draw a line and say, well, at least I won't do that. And the next week, I did it. And little by little, I felt the stain coming from the inside, and there was no way to get rid of it. I couldn't believe what I was doing, but I couldn't help it. And so for those of you, particularly who are new, who are coming in here saying, oh my God, they say you gotta tell, I will never tell. I'm gonna take these secrets with me to the grave. I will never tell a soul. I'm here to tell you that that's an anchor that'll drown you. I know what it's like to need alcohol the way a drowning man needs air. There is nothing a drowning man won't do for air, and there is nothing that an alcoholic in his need, in her need, won't do for alcohol. At that point, it's not a matter of choice. At that point, while it may be immoral, it is not a moral issue. It is of necessity to breathe. So we don't judge here. We don't judge here. We promise that that stain will go away. We promise that we know how deep it feels. We promise that if you take the steps, as Frank taught us last night, as he reminded us last night, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, the stain that you can't scrub away, the stain that you can't drink away, the stain that you can't buy away, that stain will melt away. And I promise you it has happened for us, and it will happen. It'll happen for you. I'm 117 pounds. I am just a mess, and I've lost any hope until I'm rescued by my Aunt Pearl and Uncle Saul from Canoga Park, California. And Aunt Pearl and Uncle Saul rescue me, and they put me into treatment. And I don't really want to be in treatment, but I can't live on the street anymore. I can't do it. I just can't handle it. Physically, I can't do it. Mentally, I can't do it. Emotionally, I can't do it. So I go in for a rest. And I'm in there, and I wake up, and they have my robe on backwards after detox, and I don't understand that. And they tell me I wasn't doing civilized things in mixed company, and I have no idea. I don't know. And they put me into a meeting. It's a meeting, but they call it group. It's a meeting. There's some rehab people in here, right? So it's group. It's a meeting, and they say you have to identify. Hi, my name is Ron. I'm a lawyer. Ha 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 ha. Knock it off, wise guy. Okay, hi, my name is Ron. I'm a Jewish lawyer. Ha 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 ha. And then they make you sit in this little kid's chair out in the hall, and you know, that was horrible. It was horrible. So I learned to read all the AA stuff, and I could talk all the AA talk, and I found God, and I found the steps, and really, trust me, I get this deal. And they let me out on the 30th day, and on the 30th night, I'm in a bar, and about 11 o'clock, I'm at the dealer, and I'm off and running, and I'm sleeping at Aunt Pearl and Uncle Sal, and in the morning, they take me to a place called the Hole in the Sky Club in Canoga Park, California. It's this upstairs, some of you know, right? Yeah, and it's on the second floor over a pawn shop, and I walk into this meeting, and there's this, same guy must be in a lot of your meetings, you know, like they're really old, and no hair, and no teeth, and they don't shave, and they're saying these stupid things like, if you want what we have. And I'm thinking, I don't want what they have. I don't know what they have. I hope I don't catch what they have. And immediately after that, they say, is anyone sober for 30 days who wants to take a chip? And I took a chip. Of course I took a chip. I'm a liar. I will do anything that I think you think I should do. It doesn't matter. I'm still that little kid, right? I'm just that little kid. It's humiliating to tell you this stuff, but that's just the way that it was. And so for the next number of months, 6 months, I'm going to AA during the day, talking up AA, and I'm drinking and using at night. And that was lonely. Now, I'm a double agent. I don't fit anywhere. I mean, the dealers don't really want you around. You're an AA guy. And I can't tell the AA people what I'm doing at night. It was just awful. And one morning, I wake up at Aunt Pearl and Uncle Sal's house. Uncle Sal's house. The night before, I hadn't been arrested. I'd been arrested just the night before. The night before, I hadn't been in the ER. I'd been in the ER, just not the night before. The night before, I hadn't done anything horribly immoral. I had done lots of stuff that was immoral, just not the night before. There is no particular reason, no cause that would have me wake up and look at this cheesy ceiling at Aunt Pearl and Uncle Sal's house and have the moment. You know the moment. We call it the moment of clarity. Father Leo Booth in his tapes just refers to it as the moment. It is the moment when self-con stops. Just for an instant, just for a little window. I knew in that moment that I was an alcoholic and I was a drug addict and it wasn't going to stop. My shucking and jiving wasn't going to work. And I was going to be this forever. Forever. And now I'm scared. And all these stupid meetings that I went to with you people, stupid, stupid, stupid. You say the same things over and over and over and over again. Keep coming back. Don't drink in between meetings. Don't quit before the miracle. Suit up and show up. If you can't get your ass to a meeting, put it in a paper bag and bring it. All of these crazy things that I heard when I was newly sober worked. I wasn't even paying attention, and it worked. I got up, I took a shower, I went to a meeting, I went to lunch, I went to a meeting, I went to dinner, I went to a meeting, I came home, I went to sleep, I woke up, and I had a day sober. And it was just that simple, just like you told me. Just like you'd been hammering at me over and over and over again. It was true. And then I did it again. And then I did it again. And now I've got a week. And now I have 2 weeks. And now I've got a month. All I'm doing is what you told me to do. I'm going to meetings and I'm not drinking in between. And now I've got 3 months. Now I've got 5 months. Oh, I didn't tell you. I didn't tell anybody. So you thought I had 11 months. And you were getting ready to give me this birthday cake and sing happy birthday. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out what to do. So rigorous honesty, lie and take the cake. Rigorous honesty, lie and take the cake. I lied. Of course I lied. Come on. I'm no saint. I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. I'm a proud sinner. Here was this. Look, I knew that I knew what my sobriety date was. And God knew what my sobriety date was. And if God wanted you to know, he'd tell you. Okay, now you want to know the really bad part of this? I did it again the next year. So here's the really sad thing. I thought so little of me. I was sure that if I told you the truth, you'd throw me out and throw me away. The reason I didn't tell you was because I thought you'd throw me away. I thought that one more time I found a group of people and I didn't deserve you. And you would find out and you would throw me away. In AA. Right? I mean, we're the caboose. There's no more cars after us. So I don't know why. I called my sponsor and Cowboy Nick, and I told him the truth, and he said, okay, so go to the meeting and The Sunday meeting, big meeting at the Hole in the Sky, participation. Sit in the front row, put your hand up, be the first person to share. Talk for no more than 2 minutes, lawyer, and just tell them the truth, tell them you're sorry, and sit down. So I go to the meeting, oh, this is going to be terrible. And I sit there, and there's the leader of the meeting, and he's qualifying, and his qualifying is about having claimed a false sobriety date. I got a resentment against that guy. This is mine. Doesn't matter. So I just fessed up and really began doing the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I learned so much. I learned that the race couldn't be won without finishing. That speed really doesn't count in Alcoholics Anonymous. Slow and steady counts in Alcoholics Anonymous. 30-day wonders often are not 60-day chip takers, right? Slow and steady. And I went slow, not so steady, but slow. And they taught me that was okay. And I learned that the program of Alcoholics Anonymous is in the steps. God bless our fellowship, and God bless conventions, and God bless our meetings. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous is a 12-step program. The program is the 12 steps found in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. For complicated people like us, they put numbers on them for a reason, so we can take them. When we say, gee, how does this thing work? Read the book. How it works. Well, let me think about that. No. The next chapter is into action, not into thought. So my journey in Alcoholics Anonymous really started, and I never dreamed that I would be here for 29 years. Remember, I was in rehab for a little over 29 days and had no intention of staying. What I found here was something that I had never imagined, that I had never known. I hadn't worked in years, and Aunt Pearl and Uncle Saul, I went up to my sponsor and I said, Bill, I have no self-worth. And my sponsor says, with the loving looks and the loving tone and the loving kindness of a sponsor, you don't do anything worthwhile. Go get a job. And I really didn't want to work, so I figured I'll be a lawyer again. So Aunt Pearl and Uncle Saul had an abandoned factory, and I decided I would have a little law desk in the lobby of their abandoned factory. And so I would put on a little tie, and I would go and I would sit in the lobby of their abandoned factory. I nailed my old diplomas to the wall. There was one red wall, one blue wall, one green wall, a piece of old ratty carpet that was down on a cement slab, and water beetles all over the place, and that was my law office. And I didn't have any file cabinets. And that was okay because I didn't have any files. And that was okay because I didn't have any clients. And my sponsor, he was going to resurrect my legal career, and he said, put on a tie and go there in the morning and sit there. And I would just cry. Oh my God, look at what happened to me. I was a partner in this huge law firm. I was a corporate litigator. I had big staffs of lawyers working for me. Now I'm sitting here in this factory and look at it, and I'm crying. And then I would go to a meeting and I would come back and I would sit there and I'm crying, and what am I going to do? And nobody's calling. Oh, I forgot to tell you I had no phone. And I'm taking sponsor direction who says, just keep doing it, don't quit before the miracle. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this guy is an unemployed engineer living in a camper shell, and he's directing me. And why I'm listening to this guy is beyond me. Except I was convinced that my ideas weren't going to work. So there I am in the factory, and there's a knock on the door, and I'll be darned. There, we're going to call him, give him a name for today. There's A.A. Ralph. And A.A. Ralph comes in and he said, Ron, I've got a problem. What is it? My little son was visiting me, and his mother let him visit me, and we took a shower, and I was peeing in the shower, and when I was peeing, the pee kind of flew around, and it got on the kid, and the kid told his mom, and his mom told Protective Services, and now I'm in trouble, and they won't let me see my kid. You know anything about this? No! Oh man, I've been a corporate litigator. Are you kidding me? And he said, can you help me? And my brain says, I'm not going to help you. I don't do kind of cases like this. What are you doing here? Get out of here. And my lips said, I'll try. So I went to the law library and I learned a little bit about this, and I went to court for the very first time in the pee in the shower case. And I borrowed a suit from my cousin, and I proudly walked into court in a three-piece green polyester suit with bell-bottom trousers. And we did okay, and AA Ralph, he sent someone else, and now I've got 2 clients, and then 2 clients turned into 4 clients, and then I had to get a telephone, and 4 turned into 8, and I had to have someone from AA start answering the telephone for me, and one day there's a knock on the door, and it's some lady, and she says, my kids are hungry, we don't get enough child support. Do you know anything about this? No! Could you help me? And my brain says, I'm not going to do family law. That's the bottom of the barrel. No, get out of here. Go away from me. And my lips said, I'll try. So I went to the law library, and we went to court, and we came out, and I'm still the kid who's just so afraid you're going to find out I'm a fraud. It's not changed. It's not working for me. I hadn't really gone through all the steps I thought I had. I hadn't. I'm not feeling good about me. And this lady comes out and she's crying. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I really screwed up. Let me have it. What's wrong? And she takes my hands and she looked at me. And she said, my children will eat because of you. Thank you. And my life changed that day. It just changed. It wasn't about the money. It just changed. I grew up. You know, I'm Jewish, so at 13, I thought I was supposed to become a man. It didn't work. The ability to affect someone's life in a positive way. It wasn't a huge deal. You know, I represent big people now, and was so meaningful. It was like there was a shift. And if you haven't had that, keep at it. Because everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift. God doesn't make anybody without giving them a gift. And I think our goal is just find the gift. Whether it's to be a sponsor, or a teacher, or a crossing guard, or a painter, or a mom, whatever it is, just be the best that you can be. And when we get rid of alcohol, and we open our hearts to the guidance of a loving God in this fellowship, incredible things happen. And it happened for me. So I don't want to bore you with my professional life other than to tell you that was the day I became a family law lawyer. And I'm now the senior partner of a firm that only does family law. We got a lot of lawyers, and it all happened because I had a sponsor who said, suit up and show up, and don't quit before the miracle. Don't drink in between meetings. And he was right. And that was beyond, I had eyes and had no vision. I couldn't see. And I know that as I sponsor men, it's not that they're not smart. It's just when they're caught up in their own stuff, they can't see. They can't see, right? It was like Tom's story today at lunch. I put in 1,000 applications, and finally I got a job offer, and I didn't know whether I should take it, right? Perfect example. I mean, it's all the same. So, So as I'm trying to grow in Alcoholics Anonymous, I find I really don't believe in God. And I'm stuck. I don't know how to do this. I'm trying to resurrect my life, and it's not working. And I'm going back and forth to the factory, and I'm making a little money, but it's not working. And I'm finding I can't find God. And I'm this Jewish guy, and I try and find God. You know my guy, the Charlton Heston, and the stick, and the waters come apart, and I couldn't believe in that. And then I tried the Catholic God, the Sistine ceiling, the creation, and that didn't work. And I tried Buddhism. I tried all this stuff, and I'm reading all these books thinking that you're going to tell me what God is. And that's the way that I figured it had to be, that I had listened to the rabbis, and the rabbis told me what God is and isn't, what I'm supposed to do, not supposed to do, and it's not working. Joys of sponsorship. Knowledge comes in both directions. We help our sponsees. They help us in ways we can't possibly imagine. One of mine, his name is John, a Catholic guy, couldn't connect with God. He lost his God. And you had taught me what to tell him. It wasn't to force a God on him. It was to say, take a little pad with you, and throughout the day, when you find God, when you find anything that says God to you, just write it down. Just write it. Just be open to an experience of God. And he called me that night and said he went to the beach and he heard the waves. He heard the power of the waves. You could even hear him to the back of this room. He could hear the power, and he knew that there was a power greater than himself. And that was his start. That was the first pebble in his wall. And the next day he saw his little girl sleeping, and saw that kind of innocence and that beauty, and that was the next pebble. He was just going to build his own conception of God, and so it went. And it reminded me of the story of the blind guy who lives in the blind people's house, and he's going to go to the zoo and come back and try and tell them what an elephant is. You know the story? So he goes to the zoo and he comes back and he says, an elephant is this thing that swings back and forth, and when you touch it, there's suction at the end. They call it a trunk. So his conception of the elephant, because that's all he touched that day, was a trunk. And the next week he goes to the zoo and he comes back and says, no, I'm wrong. An elephant is a trunk and a tail. And the next week he comes back and says, no, I'm wrong. An elephant is a trunk and a tail and an ear. And then it's a trunk and a tail and 2 ears. And each time he goes to the zoo, he has another experience of the elephant, which adds to his conception of the elephant. The elephant isn't changing. The elephant is just the elephant. But his experience of the elephant allows his conception of the elephant to grow. And it's real. It's palpable. He can touch it. It's his own. What if we do that with God? If you're having trouble with God, is it real? Is he not real? Is she real? Is she not real? What if instead of taking the conception that I would give you, that your sponsor would give you, that any number of people would share with you, what happens if it becomes a product of your experience? What happens if you simply allow God to be manifest in your life? And little by little, like the blind guy with the elephant, what happens if your conception of God is based on your experience, organic, growing every day, little by little by little? What if? The book talks about it. And the book says, the central fact of our existence is the absolute certainty that our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way that is indeed miraculous. The first time I read that, I wanted to gag. I couldn't deal with all this God stuff. And I will tell you that through experience, I know that God is real. I don't know what God looks like for me. I don't know what God sounds like. God has never spoken to me directly in a voice that I can hear. But I know that God exists. And I know that through my own experience. I no longer question the existence of God. I know that the central fact of my existence is an absolute certainty that my Creator has entered into my heart and lives in a way that is indeed miraculous, and it is due in no part to me. It is all due to you. My journey has been incredible. The stuff that's come on the outside is magnificent. I love the stuff on the outside. I know that the stuff on the outside can't fix the inside. I know that my inside is healed only by doing the steps and following the directions of my sponsor. I know that to a certainty. So the outside world's been good. You know, I'm a practicing lawyer. I'm married. We have 2 wonderful little kids that I get to help raise. Second time around, it's all pretty cool. And that's all great stuff. But the payoff of sobriety is sobriety. I don't want to lose any of that stuff. It's so dear to me. But the gift of sobriety is sobriety. And in sobriety, then, we can do whatever we want with it, as long as we're willing to pay the price. I want it all. I was a pig when I was using, and I'm a pig when I'm not. You know, I want all the joy and laughter that I can have for whatever days I have. We are not a glum lot. So I've got a beautiful wife, I've got a beautiful life, and the biggest gift of all through my sobriety is that for today, just for today, I'm enough. I'm enough. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I don't brag about who I am. I'm just enough. And I owe it all to you. God bless.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with, and it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button. swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right, but I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.